Good afternoon, Representative Clark. If you'll let us know the bill and the bill number so we're all working off the same page, and then you can proceed.
Okay. It's HB 772 and working with LC 28702. And 7802. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the committee. Today I bring HB 772 before you. It's dealing with the mandatory Saturday during the early voting period. Currently, under law, it's mandated that it's 2 Saturdays before the Tuesday election. And during the special elections during the summer, that Saturday fell on July 4th, and turnout was low, and finding poll workers was difficult. And all this bill is doing is saying if that Saturday falls within a holiday weekend, a holiday that's on Thursday through the following Monday, move that Saturday voting to the previous Saturday. Move it back a week to 3 Saturdays. And so to try to increase voter turnout and making it easier on the taxpayer, not wasting money, paying for the polls to be open and turnout being low. With that, I will ask for any questions, if there are any questions.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Price.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just a curiosity question. Do you know if those folks working on that day were paid at an elevated rate, being a holiday and a Saturday? Was it like a triple time, double time?
Honestly, I'm not aware that they were, but I cannot answer that with any kind of a surety.
Thank you. Any other questions? The chair at this time will entertain a motion.
Move to pass, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion to pass and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Congratulations. Have you had the bill on the floor yet?
No, sir.
Okay. We may want to make a note of that, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, members.
There's probably a reasonable chance that the questioning could be even more vigorous should that happen. I'm guessing.
I've seen it done before, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. We've got a lot of committees going on, and we've got, I think, 5 or 6 bills here this afternoon. So the next lucky contestant that walks through the door, we're going to call their bill. We'll be in recess until then.
Buzz can do 676.
Buzz, you want to do 676?
Sure.
I'm sorry, Representative Brockway.
Yes, Chairman Reinders.
All right. Good call. 676. House Bill 676.
Do you want me to do it here or downstairs?
Sure, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for adding this to the agenda today. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, I bring it to you a substitute of House Bill 676. So the LC number is LC 287946ERS. What this bill does is create a process or firm up a process for purchasing technology that would be used by various departments. And we're talking about projects that are over $1 million in cost. And I worked pretty closely with the Georgia Technology Association, Technology Authority, as well as the Governor's Office of Budget and Planning. And basically what we've set up is a process where if a department wants to purchase some items, some technology that's $1 million or more, they would work with the GTA. They would submit to the GTA a plan, and we describe that, what the plan needs to contain, beginning in lines 29 through about 42. Basically what we're looking for is what is the need for this project, what's this going to do, what's the budget for the project, what are the impacts of this project going to be on their department's function. That report is then submitted to GTA. GTA reviews it, provides its input, and if all goes well, then and this process all needs to take place before the department submits a request to OPB. So that's the intent here. A lot of this happens now They consult with GTA already. What we're doing is firming up this process and also adding some additional things that we think are important to make sure that by the time that this technology is purchased, that there's a much greater chance of success, that the technology will accomplish what we want it to. There's one part in here on the end, beginning in line 62, where we don't mandate, but we encourage departments to seek best practices from private or public sector experts where they think it's appropriate. And there are consulting firms out there that will help evaluate these sort of things. There's also a lot of knowledge that's been garnered by public sector experts, other agencies that can be gleaned and brought to the process as well. So, in general, that's what the project does, what this bill does, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about it.
Thank you, Representative Brockway. Questions of the author of the bill? Representative Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to check and see, do we know, does this put a length of time? Is it going to delay projects?
We, in working with GTA, what they said was, and we've got there on line 44, 30 days prior, if the department that's going to make the request contacts GTA 30 days prior and provides this report to them, that's the only delay we see that we're adding to this.
So it would be just a 30-day, really?
Right. And what GTA has told me is generally when they receive these sorts of requests for advice, that they can turn it around normally in a couple of weeks. Okay. So what we're anticipating here is since we're putting a more formal process in place, that there might be more of them. Yeah. And so we're just adding some extra time in there to allow GTA to provide that sort of input. It sounds
like a really good idea to make sure it's going to fit the needs, and by the time it's delivered, it's not stale. So right. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Representative Taylor. Representative Taylor?
The other Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Brockway, this what my read on this is to encourage more commercial off-the-shelf technology, more innovation, rather than looking at legacy systems and things like that might not run together.
Well, it not necessarily. I mean, I think that will happen as agencies attempt to modernize their technology. That will happen, but mostly we want to make sure before a government department or agency is going to spend $1 million or more of taxpayer dollars, that they have a plan in place, and that they're to help ensure a better chance of success of implementing that technology.
So best practices, basically.
Yes, sir.
Good bill.
Thank you for the question, sir.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you, Representative Taylor. Any other questions of Representative Brockway? This time the chair will entertain a motion.
Move to pass.
Got a motion passed by substitute and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Substitute 676 passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Raffensperger. I didn't butcher that too badly. $787. 781, excuse me. And this was brought to us for just a minor technical adjustment. It had already passed out of this committee. So yes. If you would quickly let us know the change.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. When this bill, after it was approved, on reflection, I thought it might be better if we added, except for ex officio non-voting members, no individual should be entitled appointed to serve. And that way it would be more I guess add a bit more flexibility for some of the folks that express some concern as we're moving through the process. And I thought this might be a further improvement to the bill and for the people of Georgia.
Thank you. Any questions of the author of the bill? I'm surprised.
Glad I got here on time.
Yes, so am I.
Obviously, this is more than a technical change. It's a substantive change, which is in the right direction. But you and I have talked about this. We have 1,700 foreign national companies coming to this country. We spend $10 million at least on international economic development. The governor every day. very happily and appropriately talks about partnerships with international businesses. There's never an excuse to be rude, and this is my view, representing the businesses that I know and work with. This is simply telling them, we want your money, but we don't want you sitting at the table with us. And I feel like this is the wrong message to send, as I expressed in earlier hearings.
Thank you. Representative Taylor.
I want to echo Representative Oliver's thing. I've got a number of international corporate headquarters in my district, a number of consulates. I'm going to not vote for the bill. I'm not going to impede it or in any way, but I just wanted to weigh in and let you know why I've got that. I do have folks from the Swedish American Chamber of Commerce and from foreign corporations sitting on our Economic Development Board and in our, or some other boards that the city has. And I think it just particularly in my district, now I'm sure this is going to pass, but I just wanted to weigh in on my rationale for doing that.
Thank you. Representative Price.
I think I expressed my views and my reasons last time, but I just wanted to add that there are certain things that permanent residents are allowed to do as opposed to citizens, and those are working in this country with the exception of very high security locations. You can have a mortgage, you can receive Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, own property, obtain a driver's license, attend schools, and obtain financial aid, join the armed forces. You can actually donate to political campaigns. You can own a firearm, and even in some cities you can actually vote and obtain government grants. Really, the only difference between a permanent resident or green card holder and a citizen is not being able to vote. So I think with all those high-profile things that you're able to do as a permanent resident, I can't imagine that serving on local PTA or what have you would rise to that level. And maybe PTA is not included, but
it isn't.
It is not. But some of those other entities, I think, are probably of lesser significance than some of the things I just mentioned. So I'm sorry, as a naturalized citizen to this country, I just kind of feel like this is a little bit of an overreach. So I'm sorry, I can't support it either.
All right. Thank you so much for your comments. Representative Fleming.
Thank you, Representative. And I know that my question can be addressed to you, but also some of the comments from the previous members of this committee that expressed non-support for this. Do you think members of this legislature ought to have to be a citizen? Yes.
That'll stand on their own. And again, what we're going to do is we tried to reach out. If someone feels like that people shouldn't be involved in taxation and policy decisions in this country without being a citizen, then you're entitled to vote no. At this time, I will ask for a motion.
Do pass.
Got a motion to pass and a second. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Ayes clearly have it. The lady has that right. All those in favor will please raise their hand. Does that satisfy you?
I'm sorry, I wasn't counting.
No, I put my hand up and I didn't mean to. So don't count me.
The ayes clearly have it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Speaker Pro Tem Jones. Wherever you're comfortable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, ask for your consideration today of House Bill 885, which would repeal a population bill that was first passed in 1985 and amended several times. What the code section being repealed in this bill would, what it allowed previous, or what it allowed up to date, was it allowed Fulton County to establish a county board of health without the typical lines of authority and coordination that are present with all other 17 health districts and 158 county boards of health. Since it was last modified, in 2002, Gwinnett County could now be captured by the 800,000 population threshold. It was brought to me by the Department of Public Health out of ongoing concern about the lack of public health coordination in the county, that a county with a very large vulnerable population, busiest airport in the country, and 10% of the state's population. And so they have been working with Fulton County. Fulton County their Board of Commissioners did vote 6-1 on a legislative package that included this, and they have already established a transition team that is going to be working on the ongoing change should this body in the House and the governor agree with this bill. I would be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This time, any questions, members of the committee? I should have had you present the last one. Representative Taylor.
Yeah, we heard this the other day in subcommittee. It's a very good bill. It just brings everything into line, and both from an epidemiology standpoint for things like that in a very large urban area where disease and things like that, bioterror do not know county lines. They don't stop at county lines and things like that. And as a industry member of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, I applaud the bill. It's a good bill.
Thank you.
Representative Price.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just mention, if it's appropriate at this time, that I did serve on the Fulton County Board of Health when it was within this structure that we're considering reversing, and I feel that this is a very appropriate move for both coordination and seamless oversight by the Department of Health. And I think if we look forward to, or not look forward, but the possibility in the future of various crisis managements, coordination with GEMA and the authority and the direct line to the Public Health Department is very important. You know, we're a large county. We house the largest airport in the world. We never know when a natural disaster or terrorism might strike. I know when I was serving on that board, I was on that board for 10 years, we had some difficulties in managing some of the things that came up just because of our independence from the health department. So I think it'd be really a great thing to do. I think we could make it more health-oriented and take a little bit of the politics out of it. And we've got crises on the horizon, such as the Zika virus, compared to the way we handled the West Nile virus and some tuberculosis issues and syphilis. I think we can do a whole lot better, and I think this is a step in the right direction. The structure of the board would not be greatly different. It was a 7-member board when I was on it, and the county boards of health in the other 158 counties are also 7-member boards, and it would be called a county board of health. So the structure of the board would not be that different, although they would have some autonomy, and then under the direction of the state board. So I fully support this bill.
I think you started off with at the appropriate time. I think you started your comments with that, so I was going to let you make that motion as the second signer.
Move to pass.
All right, we've got a motion to pass. Got a second? Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Congratulations, House Bill 885 does pass. House Resolution 900, Representative Barr. Wherever you're comfortable. This is a House resolution by substitute to 900. Make sure we got the proper LC number.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. This bill, as many of you recall, several years ago, we passed a couple of...
Are you working off of LC 287942S?
Yes. Confirm. Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't have the update in front of me.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We worked on some Article 5 of the Constitution, which allows for the states to assert their authority in adding amendments to the Constitution. This bill deals with that. There is several legislators that have been getting together for several years now, working on this type of legislation. And it has grown and become the assemblies of state legislatures. In keeping with the rules there and trying to become an organization, we are looking at passing uniform requirements to those who will be able to join this group, and that's what this bill does. Starting on line 28, on line 32, it lays it out. The Speaker appoints 2 members and two voting members and 2 alternate delegates. In the Senate, the President Pro Tem selects 2 and 2 alternates. In the House, the minority party selects 1 and 1 alternate, as well as the same thing in the Senate. And it has been debated by the group and felt that it was best left up to the bodies to make those decisions. Yes, sir. I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you. I've got a funny feeling this committee knows where this is going. Representative Kidd?
Yes, I want to thank him for recognizing the real minority party and not the majority minority party. Thank you very much.
You saw that one coming,
Yes, sir.
didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Representative Taylor?
Yeah, Mr. Barr, no fiscal impact of this bill at all?
No, sir. This is a
Would that include any
group,
would that include any state travel, or people would use personal funds to attend?
Personal funds, that's
Okay.
correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Representative Other Taylor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How did you determine the number that Georgia would have as representatives? Is each state, or is it by population, or how is that determined?
To the beautiful Taylor, very good question. We did discuss what the membership should look like. This copy that we're looking at right now, every state, it's the same. And we felt that if the delegations got too large, it would be very difficult to actually hold a meeting times 50. So that's kind of the number we came up with, limiting it to this number.
Are there any dates, if I may, Mr. Chairman?
You can continue.
Are there any dates when this is going to convene? Do we have anything out on a calendar?
They do send out invitations. Traditionally, we have met in the summer, and then perhaps once in the fall, depending on what we're discussing. And again, let me just give a brief. This assembly has zero bearing on Article 5. Right. The thought process behind this was to pound out some rules that would already be a framework that we could reach for if we ever come up to the actual Article 5 being called. And so there might be something as a framework there. Again, this has no legal binding to it. We just wanted to give it some credibility as a group.
Okay, and it doesn't require us to actually send delegates right now to the convention?
It does not, no ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want the committee to know, with the fall thing coming up, I was really thinking about amending it. We had talked about that, not to be on any weekend in which the dogs play. But since Buzz has loyalties to something on North Avenue, we decided not to even get into that. Yeah, we thought we'd be bipartisan. Rusty. Representative Broadway.
Thank you. Just
Broadway.
one quick point. Each state will have just one vote. So the size of the delegation, as Representative Barr mentioned, trying to keep it small just for logistics standpoints, but each state has one vote. So, California doesn't swamp smaller states and that sort of thing. So we're all on equal footing. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion.
Move to pass, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion to pass. Do I hear a second?
As substituted.
As substituted, yes. Do I hear a second? Got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Like sign if you're against. Congratulations. Substitute House Resolution 900 passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that's all we have on the agenda. We've got some more coming in your subs. Pay attention in full committee next week. Thank you so much. We're adjourned.